Hello, we're reading from Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. I've read from this book before, so you might get some overlapping, but I'm going to read from this book for the rest of the month. Let me hold it up because it is Black History Month, but I also wanted to deal with the condition of Black women who are in a very tight bind, very tough spot right now. So let's continue reading. Uh, New Master and Mistress. Dr. Flynn, a physician in the neighborhood, had married the sister of my mistress, and I was now the property of their little daughter. It was not without murmuring that I prepared for my new home, and what added to my unhappiness was the fact that my brother William was purchased by the same family. My father, by his nature as well as by the habit of transacting business as a skillful mechanic, had more of the feelings of a free man than is common among slaves. My brother was a spirited boy, and being brought up under such influences, he daily detested the name of master and mistress. One day, when his father and his mistress both happened to call him at the same time, he hesitated between the two, being perplexed to know which had the strongest claim upon his obedience. He finally concluded to go to his mistress. When my father reproved him for it, he said, "You both called me, and I didn't know which I ought to go to first." "You are my child," replied our father, "and when I call you, you should come immediately, if you have to pass through fire and water." Um, Poor Willie, he was now to learn his first lesson of obedience to master. Grandmother tried to cheer us with hopeful words, and they found an echo in the credulous hearts of youth. When we entered our new home, we encountered cold looks, cold words, and cold treatment. We were glad when the night came. On my narrow bed, I moaned and wept. I felt so desolate and alone. I had been there nearly a year when a dear little friend of mine was buried. I heard her mother sobbing as the clods fell on the coffin of her only child, and I turned away from the grave, feeling thankful that I still had something left to love. I met my grandmother, who said, "Come with me, Linda," and from her tone, I knew that something sad had happened. She led me apart from the people and then said, "My child, your father is dead." Dead? How could I believe it? He had died so suddenly, and I had not even heard that he was sick. I went home with my grandmother. My heart rebelled against God, who had taken from me mother, father, mistress, and friend. The good grandmother tried to comfort me. "Who knows the ways of God?" she said. "Perhaps they have been kindly taken from the evil days to come." Years afterwards, I often thought of this. She promised to be a mother to her grandchildren so far as she might be permitted to do so, and strengthened by her love, I returned to my masters. Uh, I thought I should be allowed to go to my father's house the next morning, but I was ordered to go for flowers, that my mistress's house might be decorated for an evening party. I spent the day gathering flowers and weaving them into festoons, while the dead body of my father was lying within a mile of me. What cared my owner for that? He was merely a piece of property. Moreover, they thought he had spoiled his children by teaching them to feel that they were human beings. This was blasphemous doctrine for a slave to teach, presumptuous in him and dangerous to the masters. So there you go. And you gotta say, man, people standing up, trying to be free, um, people having split loyalties. Um, a lot of these issues are still around. The loss, the loss, the loss. I can't tell you how many people I lost in Brownsville growing up. I've talked about this before, talking to friends. 2 days later, he's shot in his car, saying what's up to a friend, talking to him a little bit at the corner store, and then the next week he's dead. Saying what's up, talking to a friend, and he's gunned down at a party a week later. Some of these guys were good people. Not everybody was a drug dealer, but we had to go to school, we had to go to work, we walked to the store. You could be taken away at any time during that time. So when you're surrounded by death, it's rough. I also wanted to say here that when the grandmother talks about who knows the ways of God, maybe he took them from horrors to come. Well, slavery itself is horror. And the sad thing about today is a lot of black people, particularly young people, feel like death is better than black life in this situation. Even after 2020, with all the things that went on and with all the Black Lives Matter, with all that stuff, as things are settling down, they're settling into something that's going to be even more horrifying for black people than what than 2019 was, than pre um, George Floyd. Because yes, we've been loosed, we've been freed from institutions and organizations, but in order to get anything done, you need institutions and organizations. We don't have any that works on our behalf. Well, I shouldn't say any, but almost none. And if you do, there might be some little local ones, a local level. But there's, for instance, reason why I created the Cognizant Center, because we don't have any really educational programs or educational spaces where we can learn how to be thoughtful, thought-based beings. And you can get hung up in curriculum and this and that and pedagogy, but if you can't be a thought-based human being, none of that other stuff matters. And so we need more institutions like that. Now, again, I'm not the only one, there's some, but we need as many as you have public schools. So if you have 5 schools in your neighborhood, you should have 5 institutions that teach you how to think, period. So we need thousands of these institutions to make up for the ones we've been freed from. And we'll see if we get on it, if we can get on it or not. A lot of media companies are popping up, and I'm happy to hear that. So we're on our way. But I just want to say, young people, hang in there. Your life is worth more than you know, and the misery that you're in is our fault, not yours. My parents' generation and my generation have been horrible as far as creating spaces for our children to develop and grow. But I'm trying at least, and we'll see. Um, I think some of us are. It's a small number, but we're trying. Until next time, I want to thank you for your support and ask that you continue to take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.